What happens when a presidential order overnight reshapes who can live and work in America? Maya unpacks frantic family fallout. Leo breaks down enforcement mechanics. Tonight we trace the $100,000 H-1B fee, new gold card gates, travel chaos, and looming court battles. Tonight, an official story collides with public panic. The White House says it is curbing abuse and prioritizing Americans. Online, workers and families say they are scrambling to make flights and make sense of the rules. Here are the facts. On Friday, the president signed a package imposing an annual fee of $100,000 per H-1B worker. Alongside it, a $1 million gold card and a proposed $5 million platinum investor pathway.
The point is simple. Stop treating work visas like freebies. Make companies train Americans, and if they truly need rare talent, they can pay. That's not cruelty, that's common sense and a little tough love.
Common sense doesn't look like a one-day scramble. The order kicked in 1 minute after midnight on Sunday, September 21st. Families on H-1B and H-4 were told, do not travel, get back now, or risk being locked out.
Internal advisories confirm that. Amazon urged H-1B holders already here to stay put. Microsoft's counsel told travelers to return by Saturday if possible, warning re-entry risks. That is extraordinary corporate triage.
Extraordinary, sure, but overdue. The Commerce Secretary said it out loud. Either the person is valuable enough to justify $100,000 a year, or the company hires an American. That clarity has been missing.
Clarity? Even basics are murky. Does this hit renewals or only new entrants? Some officials hinted it's annual and applies to renewals. Company memos treated the deadline like a re-entry wall. That confusion has consequences.
On the record, the proclamation framed revenues as funding enforcement and other priorities. The president said of the gold card, they're going to spend a lot of money to come in. It is a pay-for-place pivot.
Pay for place or investing in America. E5 and the gold card bring capital and jobs. Meanwhile, H-1B has been used to undercut wages. A high fee filters out the cheap labor pipeline.
You say filter, I hear wealth test. We are making residency easier for millionaires while pricing out skilled workers who built the modern tech economy. As one scientist said, H-1B was the secret weapon of Silicon Valley.
Context check. Congress capped the H-1B lottery at $85,000 a year since a 1990 law signed by President George H.W. Bush. Big sponsors include Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, and Google. Recent counts put Amazon's H-1B workforce roughly in the 10 to nearly 15,000 range. Microsoft sponsors in the low thousands, around 4 to just over 5,000 in recent tallies. Exact numbers vary by period.
And that is precisely why the fee matters. If a giant firm sponsors thousands, it should sponsor fewer and pay more for the truly exceptional. Stop turning a specialty visa into a bulk pipeline.
Except the pipeline is how global teams ship products. India's foreign ministry warned of humanitarian disruption to families. NASSCOM called the one-day window a matter of concern with ripple effects on live projects.
Foreign ministries lobby. That is their job. Ours is to safeguard American workers. If companies claim there is no talent here, maybe invest in training, apprenticeships, and pay better wages instead of importing en masse.
Look, even industry critics of offshoring agree abuse exists, but a shock tax risks pushing high-value work entirely offshore. You do not strengthen communities by exporting labs and AI teams to avoid a visa toll.
International reaction spread quickly. India raised humanitarian concerns. South Korea said it is assessing effects on its firms and professionals. Employers worldwide are parsing exemptions that were not fully spelled out.
About exemptions, universities and some nonprofits may be spared. That keeps research going while ending the body shop model. If you're a genuine lab, you breathe easier. If you're gaming the system, you pay or exit.
Maybe spared is doing a lot of work there. No uniform rule is published. Workers were told to make impossible travel in a day. That is not policy. That is roulette with people's status and kids' schools.
There is also enforcement firepower. The Labor Department launched Project Firewall to root out H-1B abuse. Secretary Lori Chavez de Remer said she will personally certify investigations, a step billed as historic.
Good. Wage and hour enforcement, back wages, civil penalties, even debarment. If you underpay or use visa holders as a rotating cast, Project Firewall should make it sting.
Enforce? Yes, but do not confuse enforcement with a blanket price wall. 70+% of H1B approvals go to Indian nationals. That means this shock tears through Indian families first, by design or not.
One more factual knot. Some officials said the fee is annual and applies to renewals for up to 6 years. Yet the rollout documents left that unclear. Companies read it as a re-entry barrier unless the fee is paid.
Which is the point. If a renewal is not worth it, hire domestic. If it is, pay. Predictability will come as guidance lands. But the direction is set. Valuable people only, not volume pipelines.
Predictability is exactly what was missing. Workers were mid-flight, employers mid-project. Abrupt deadlines are how you cause errors, legal exposure, even wrongful terminations. That is bad governance.
Legal questions loom. Expect suits challenging whether an executive proclamation can levy such fees, and on whom. Exemption scope, timing, and renewal rules all look ripe for the courts to test.
Litigate away. In the meantime, companies might finally build pipelines at home. For years, big tech said they could not. With this price tag, training a Stanford or state school grad suddenly looks like a bargain.
And startups? A small firm hiring 3 specialists now faces $300,000 in fees before salaries. That tilts the field toward giants who can pay the toll and against the scrappy innovators we say we love.
Or it nudges startups to hire Americans first, which their neighbors might appreciate. If a role truly requires rare skills, perhaps remote work from abroad fills the gap without leaning on visa churn.
Remote is not a cure-all. It offshores know-how and weakens local ecosystems. Critics warn it will erode leadership in artificial intelligence. You cannot incubate frontier tech if you wall off talent and ship work out.
We should also note the administration signaled more fee increases across immigration services, with revenues framed for enforcement and other priorities. The financial architecture is shifting beyond H1B,
which could finally clean house. For too long, we had a tangle of programs that blurred lines between study, work, and residency. A stiffer price and a clearer investor track bring order to the chaos.
Order that elevates wealth and destabilizes workers. Wealthy entrants glide through gold and platinum doors. Meanwhile, mid-career engineers face a toll booth every year. That is a values choice, not a necessity.
Recap: an annual $100,000 fee per H1B worker. Investor: doors for those with 1 to 5 million. An immediate start that sparked travel panic and an enforcement surge under Project Firewall. Unresolved: do renewals pay? Who is exempt? And when will re-entry be permitted without surprise tolls? Employers, foreign governments, and advocates are bracing for litigation to define the real rules.
And beyond lawsuits, there is trust. Families need to know they can visit home without gambling their lives. Workers need timelines, not ambushes. That is the human ledger missing in the talking points.
I hear the human side. I also hear Midwestern grads who feel locked out of tech ladders. Maybe this shock forces companies to finally widen doors for them. Fairness cuts more than one way.
We will leave it there for now. Courts will weigh in, agencies will clarify, and companies will decide whether to pay, pause, or shift work offshore. Next week, we track the first lawsuits and any exemption guidance.